parting note, I would like to encourage everyone who is thinking about diving into the field of like machine learning or AI to start thinking about problems from like a more data centric point of view. As I said, oftentimes in our attempt to build sophisticated systems, we end up adding so much complexity to the models itself that it's so hard for us to understand, let alone explaining it to others and explaining the predictions that come out of it.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Engatica's interview series. I'm your host Nimilika and we're really glad to have you join us today. Today we have a 10 times award winner in AI open source, senior machine learning engineer at Twitter, Jigyasa Grover. Welcome to the show, Jigyasa.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here today.
I am so excited to talk to you. Okay. The Engatica's interview series is a powerhouse of insights from industry experts and influencers from around the world. A platform that provides the latest news on AI, automation, and technology that will help you grow your business. Come be a part of our community, learn, share, and grow with us. Jigyasa, let's start with the challenges that might be facing by many companies around the world
Um, Absolutely,
around
yeah.
data, especially.
Mhm. Uh, so many contemporary organizations and companies these days have tons of data at hand, most of it being user generated, every click they make, every purchase they make. But this is like a lot of unstructured data, and the skill to identify meaningful signals from this data uh, is what backs the decision to be driven with data. And this usually the skill comes with intuition, experience, and domain knowledge. One should also keep in mind that not just the quantity of data, but also the quality of data matters a lot. Along with the skills, what kind of like tools you use for processes like munging, analytics, visualization definitely play a key role.
Yeah, that's so true. And with the number of machine learning models that are used on a daily basis by lots of companies around the world, there is a variation in the type of models they use. And with time, we are getting more complex models. So,
Mhm.
can you differentiate between getting accurate results and getting explainable models? How do we strike a
Mhm.
balance between these two?
Truth be told, I believe there's no one single answer to it. Of course, there are like so many modern techniques that help quantify, accuracy
Hmm.
and explainability to help make better decisions. And there has been a lot of emphasis lately on creating inherently interpretable models, which are, away from their black box counterparts. What I have gathered from my research, from my readings, and from my experience is in high stake domains it is better to go the interpretable way, even if it means there's a bit of loss of accuracy. There's usually a tendency to avoid explaining black box models, having explainable black box models in favor of using inherently interpretable white box models, especially if the trade off is sufficiently understood from a socio technical and end user perspective.
Yeah. And what do you think about uh, everyday users, the end users?
Mhm.
What do you think about them having a full knowledge of machine learning, or at least what AI means? Maybe many
Mhm.
people are using AI without actually knowing there's AI in that product.
That's 100%. They might not even know that their
Yeah.
activities are being tracked and they are being, personalized based
Hmm.
on what their preferences and interests are. So I think for an end user to know these technical terms and be aware of it, it might even get scary at times. So it's better to kind of like put out a disclaimer
Hmm.
that and have proper settings in place. For example, with Apple's app tracking transparency, that the user opts into these settings rather than
Yes.
opt out, because many a times you just go with the default settings and that would be like, oh, you're opted into all these personalized recommendations and ads targeting and whatnot. So that definitely
True.
helps, but also to simplify and let them know like it's nothing to be scared of. We are just taking the data, like your preferences, to serve better ads or like to serve um, to make your shopping carts more personalized and have more personalized recommendations.
Yeah, true. That was beautiful. Yeah. And
Thanks.
so there is so much data collected, like you said, we track a lot
Mhm.
of user activity. So how how important is it? Many people say it is very important. I want you to throw more light, go a little deep into it, and explain how important data is to make analytical decisions.
Mhm. As you said, of course, there's no dearth of data present in this world. But
Hmm.
certainly, there's a challenge on how to generate what you call like actionable insights from
Hmm.
the given sea of random looking numbers and strings and whatnot. So, the
Yeah.
first step is definitely knowing one's source of data and how accurate it is, how robust it is, and can you totally rely upon that to generate insights which might drive businesses worth billions of dollars, right? So
Hmm.
definitely that comes with knowing your source. And the next step is the clarity of the problem that you're trying to solve. Like, what
Hmm.
problem are you trying to solve with the data that you have it in very clear terms, have the metrics, how are you going to measure the success in a very quantifiable manner. There shouldn't be any type of like ambiguity or uncertainty around the success metrics, and these metrics could be anywhere from as simple as say number of likes I get on a picture, or identifying the time windows where my online advertisement or like the promoted content that I'm putting out gains more traction or not. So very simple, but keep it very clear. And this also aligns with the goals of business intelligence and aids with better decision making and strategizing. So with the amount of data, amount and both complexity of data increasing, it also is kind of like widening the gaps in the decision making workflow that we have. So it's definitely necessary to kind of like bridge those gaps with actionable insights. So having like a set workflow in place where you have elementary components, as I said, knowing the source, data integration, contextual knowledge, benchmarking, analytics, visualization, measurement definitely helps in like streamlining the entire process.
Yeah. And because this is a very, um, you know, a robust process, like you said, that has to be in place. There might be
Mhm.
challenges in getting this
Mhm.
into place. What are the challenges?
Again, as I said, not having contextual knowledge about the data, and not
Hmm.
the data might not be as accurate or as you can rely upon. The success metrics aren't as clear. The problem statement isn't clear. So it just like is a cycle in itself, I'd say.
Yeah, yeah. And now let us go on to talk about your book, Sculpting Data. It
Yeah.
is
Thank you.
such
Thanks so
a
much.
great title in itself. Just the title says so much about your book. Can you tell us about your book? You like summarize it and
Mhm.
just talk about it.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for the compliment. We definitely took some time to think about the title, which was as catchy, but also said a lot without having too many words in the title. Sculpting data from machine learning kind of introduces readers to the first act of machine learning, which is the data set curation. A more data centric point of view. So it puts forward practical tips to identify valuable information from the extensive amount of crude data available at our fingertips. It's also a very step by step guide accompanied by code examples in Python to extract real world data sets. So we kind of like use case studies of the data sets available on Kaggle, which we have made and which are doing amazingly well, thank God, on Kaggle. And there have been like so many of research papers and notebooks being published using those data sets. This book, again, after diving into like how to do step by step data set curation, also talks about data processing, feature engineering, and how you can approach machine learning from a more data point of view. So we're so glad that it has been endorsed by leading ML experts, both in industry and academia. And I'm sure it'll help you learn the significance of data in machine learning, have an overview of the processes that before all that you put into the machine learning model itself. Definitely check it out on Amazon. It's available both as an ebook on Kindle as well as paperback.
Thank you so much for telling us about your book. And I am very sure it'll help people across all ages, across many, domains of work. because data is the foremost thing that we use in machine learning. And
Yeah.
if the data is great, then the model is going to perform, you know, wonderfully. So thank you
Hmm.
so much for writing it. Thank you so much for helping us out. And I'm sure the audience will love it.
Absolutely.
Please,
Thank you. Thank
everybody,
you so
please go
much.
and buy the book. And before we
It's
end
so
the
kind of you.
conversation, do you want to, yeah, thank you. Before we end our conversation, do you want to leave some sound bites for our audience?
Yeah. So on the on a parting note, I would like to encourage everyone who is thinking about diving into the field of like machine learning or AI to start thinking about problems from like a more data centric point of view. As I said, oftentimes in our attempt to build sophisticated systems, we end up adding so much complexity to the models itself that it's so hard for us to understand, let alone explaining it to others and explaining the predictions that come out of it. So, and many a times just simple tricks like having an influential signal in your model or doing some sort of feature engineering, I see it every day in my life, at professional work as well as in side projects, that even simple tricks like feature engineering, data processing sometimes help boost the model performance so much that even the complexity cannot. So that definitely helps. And the other thing would be never ever doubt yourself. There's nothing in the world that you cannot do without hard work and due diligence. So yeah, go for it, I'd say.
That was so sweet. People need it right now. People need positive words right now. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
We'll keep going
my
on.
pleasure. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you so much for sharing your valuable insights with us. For more content, subscribe to Engati and tap the bell icon to get access to exclusive content from thought leaders from around the world. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you with a new expert soon.